I want to give you 10 tips for slide beginners, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is, generally, to start out playing slide, probably the best thing to do is to tune your guitar with an open tuning. So standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, is how I usually play slide, because when I usually play slide, I'm just picking up the guitar, or I'm just adding it to something. You know, I'm adding it in a track, or I'm adding it, you know, just picking up a slide to play a solo live, and I don't have time to change my tuning. However, if you're going to sit down and work on this, you're gonna have a lot more fun if you just tune it to an open tuning. Now, I suggest open G. I really like open G. It's one of my favorites. Open D and E are very common. And I will do videos in the future on playing in open G and standard. I'm going to do both those, maybe even open E, because so many great slide players use those tunings. Okay, so that's the first thing. So you're going to want to get a chromatic tuner so you can, like a guitar-only tuner is not going to work. You're going to need something that does chromatic tuning so you can change. In the case of an open G, you're going to take the E string down to D, the A string down to G, and then leave the next three strings the same, and then the high E string is going to go down to D, okay? So it's going to be D, G, D, G, B, and D. So it's an open G chord. Every note that is in the open position here is an open G chord. Now, I generally won't even play the bottom string in open G when I'm playing slide. Sometimes I will if I want to do some kind of, if I want to come up underneath it or something, you know, like that I might, but for the most part, you're going to play on the top 5 strings. Okay. The other thing you're going to want is a higher action. If your guitar is set up with very low action, it's going to be very difficult to play slide. So if you have a guitar that's not set up, maybe the neck is a little warped, even if the intonation is bad, it really doesn't matter, because the slide is your intonation. So you will adjust where your hand is to adjust the pitch. It's simple as that. So if the guitar doesn't even play in tune particularly, as long as it's in tune open-wise, you'll be able to play slide on it. Or you can just pick up a cheap guitar and designate that as your slide guitar and raise the action. I had my Dan Electro done that way for years. I even had this bottom string taken off, so it was only 5 strings. Okay, now, next thing you're going to want to do, number 3, is you're going to want to pick your slide. I tend to like glass slides. This is just a very thick glass slide. You could have bottleneck glass slides. I'm going to do probably a glass or a slide shootout. Live, I often use a Craftsman wrench. I think this is 11/16 socket. Okay, if you can see that. And the reason is because the glass slides kept breaking in my case. And very bad to reach into your case to pull out your slide and to only have shards. So hard to play slide with shards. There's a song title right there, maybe a band title. Hey, good band name. Slide with Shards. Anyway, so the great thing about the Craftsman, if you ever break this one, you can get it replaced for free. And it sounds pretty good. It's just really heavy. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to generally want to learn how to mute with your right hand. I was playing with a pick. I just said when I was doing the George Thorogood kind of vibe, and that's because I wanted kind of that sloppy, messy sound. Like that, okay? But if you want to play more melodic slide, you're going to want to kind of develop a technique where you're going to be putting all your fingers on the strings and just plucking the string that you want to use. That's probably the most difficult thing about playing slide, I think, is really the right. Okay? All right, number 5, keep your fingers behind the slide, okay? Now this is really important on acoustic guitar, because on acoustic guitar, the strings will ring out and everybody will be able to hear them. On electric guitar, it's not as critical, because the pickups pick up everything from here to there, and you don't have any pickups down here, so it's not going to really ring out. But you want to get in the habit of muting behind. Now a lot of people will put the slide on their 3rd finger. See, I don't want to do that because I won't be able to get it off. But I prefer to put it on my pinky. It's about 50-50 as I watch slide players online. About half of them play with the pinky and half of them play with their 3rd finger. So it's kind of up to you. whatever feels most comfortable to you. The other thing you're going to want to have, especially if you don't have a guitar with high actions, you're going to want to have a light touch. Don't push down too much. Derek Trucks, I noticed, does sometimes push down, and I think it's really cool. Like, he'll do a lick like you'll actually hear the frets, and I really dig that. It's hard to do. I can do it better on a standard tuning, but it's like doing these blues licks where you can hear the fret wire, and it's kind of a cool sound because he's pushing too hard. But generally, you want to get that standard traditional slide sound. You're going to want to have a light touch, okay? All right. Then also you're going to want to, number 7, you're going to want to not, when you put your finger down on a fret, you put it actually behind the fret, in between the 2 fret wires. You're not going to want to do that with slide. You're going to want the slide to rest pretty much on top of the fret wire. Now, one thing you can do, especially if I'm playing in a loud situation, I'm having a hard time hearing myself, I'll have a tuner handy. And I'll check my, see, I'm sharp. The string's a little sharp. Hard to tune this in open G with the tremolo. It took me a minute. I didn't do that in the video because I didn't want to bore y'all. Okay, so now if you're playing along with a band, you can use your ear to tune. But having a slide handy is kind of helpful to help you, stay in tune a little bit more, okay? Also, a thing that you can do if you're not great at keeping it in tune, playing in tune, is use a lot of vibrato. Vibrato will hide a multitude of sins. The George Thorogood thing is like, I mean, you can just go, you can experiment and kind of make whatever vibrato is more your voice. Deep vibrato, you could have multiple vibratos. One that stays mostly below the pitch, like that. One that goes above and beyond, or above and below the pitch, like that. You can have a slow one, a fast. You can have, your vibrato is actually your voice. That everybody hitting a G note at the 12th fret is going to sound pretty much the same, but it's the vibrato that will set you apart from another guitar player. Okay. And let's see. Another thing, number 9, I believe. Jam along with records. You could, like, if you're in open G, you can just Google songs in the key of G, and you create a playlist on Spotify and just run 10 songs in a row that are all in G and just have fun. Go crazy with the slide. And basically with the slide, you've got the G chord here. The 4 chord is here at the 5th fret, and at the 7th fret is the 5 chord. And the George Thorogood song is the major flat 3 to 4. Actually, the other way around, 4 to 3. And he's just going all the way up to the 12th fret, which is the root chord again, G. Okay? So that would be G, and here's F, and here's E, and here's D, and here's C. Okay, whatever note this is, or whatever note this is, that's going to be what chord that is. Okay? All right, last tip, number 10, have fun. Just have fun with it. Slide is supposed to just sound like you're having a good time. so do that. That makes it a lot more forgiving. You don't have to be perfect when you're playing slide. You just have to have fun. Okay? And ultimately sound cool. So anyway, I'm going to do more videos on this in the future. I'll do playing in standard tuning, which is what I usually do. I got some tricks and some tips about that. I've also got, I'm going to do open G, I think, and open E maybe, and then I'll do a slide shootout. I'll show you a bunch of different slides. Also, I'll put links to various slides below so you can check them out. I just bought like a couple new slides the other day. They were $5-6 each. It's not an expensive endeavor, and you can use all sorts of things you can find in the house. Like I said, the Sears Craftsman. Where is it? Here it is. The socket. You might have this in your toolbox. And the great thing about the Sears one is you can custom size fit it. So this one is an 11/16. If that's too small for you, you can get a bigger one, or if it's too big for you, you can get a smaller one. That's the great thing. It's totally customizable. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. God bless you guys, and we'll talk soon.